Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Grenier and I'm here with the El Paso Society for Musicians of the Future. Last week, we explored the history of the woodwind section of the orchestra. Today, we will give you a short history of the four main brass instruments. And yes, they are called brass instruments because they are primarily made out of brass. So without further ado, let's get started. The history of the trumpet starts during the era of ancient civilizations. These early trumpets were made of silver or bronze and can be found in ancient Egypt, Asia, and South America. But these ancient horns were used for military purposes rather than for music. During the Renaissance, however, more advanced metal production led to a new instrument design. It could produce a few notes and create music. On this kind of trumpet, you had to change out its pipes to play in a different key. These natural trumpets, as they were called, proved to be extremely popular in Baroque music, especially in marches. Later, the trumpet's limited range in notes led to improvement in its design. Adding more keys and valves allowed for more notes to be played, enabled chromatic scales, and produced a clearer sound. Performers like Louis Armstrong further added to the trumpet's popularity. Today, trumpet genres range from classical music to pop and rock. The trumpet's unique sound has truly ensured it a main spot in the orchestra. This is a cornet. It's like a more compact version of the trumpet. And whereas the trumpet, the tubing, stays the same size throughout the instrument until it reaches this part called the bell, this instrument, the tubing gradually gets bigger as it winds in and throughout the instrument, finally reaching the bell. The French horn's history also begins with ancient civilizations. People used animal horns to create signals and messages. In the 1500s, a brass horn mimicking the shape of an animal horn emerged. It became a popular instrument in various forms of music. This model, however, was difficult to play. A performer had to use many devices, called crooks, of different lengths throughout the performance in order to change the key of their instrument. They also changed their hand position in the bell of the horn to create all the notes of the chromatic scale. This development in hand technique on the natural horn led to the creation of valves in the 18th century. This, along with other modifications, including the bell end of the horn being enlarged, facilitated clear sound projection. Later, modifications also enhanced the instrument, creating a wider tone range. The sounds produced were more complex and allowed for fuller harmonies or melodies. Even though we call it a French horn, its modern design was developed in Germany. Nonetheless, the French horn has a rich history that has shaped it into the beautiful orchestral instrument we know today. The history of the trombone dates back to the middle of the 15th century in Belgium. The earliest known predecessor to the trombone was known in England as the sackbut. In fact, this name comes from the French word sacoin, meaning to draw out a weapon. Thus, it makes sense that the early trombone was named after such, because the sliding action of the trombone was closely resembled that of a swordsman unsheathing his sword from the scabbard. The sackbut had a shape like a paperclip, but much bigger. The sackbut featured an extendable slide and had a relatively small bell flare compared to that of the modern trombone. By the 1700s, the sackbut had evolved into a family of instruments that included the contrabass, bass, alto, and tenor members. Oftentimes, the sackbut was used in the orchestra when pure volume was needed because the instrument could provide such a large sound. The need for this sound is partially what called for the expansion of the bell flare in the sackbut, leading to the modern-day trombone. Today, the trombone is used in a variety of music, such as jazz, classical, and pop. The tuba's origin dates back to 1590. An instrument called the serpent was invented by Frenchman Edme Guillaume. The serpent was made of metal or wood and coiled back and forth like a snake. It featured 6 holes on it, which were later replaced by keys for more functionality. The serpent adopted the role of being a bass accompaniment to religious music and military band music. Composers like Mendelssohn, Beethoven, and Wagner were no stranger to writing for the serpent. They used it quite frequently in their orchestral compositions. Through various modifications of the serpent, the ophicleide was produced, and eventually the tuba was born by the works of Prussian bandmaster Wilhelm Wipprecht, and was soon adopted by British brass bands. The tuba has a distinctive shape, easily distinguishable by many. Despite having a broader range and better playing ability, much of the same concepts used by the serpent live on in the tuba. The tuba today is one of the most recognized instruments in the world due to its large size and low range. These factors have led to the tuba to serve an important role in all kinds of music throughout the world. Thanks for watching! On behalf of all the EPSMF members, I hope that you've learned a little on the most common brass instruments used in the symphony. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for our upcoming videos. Stay safe and never stop learning.